Hi everyone, today we're going to start a new series on medical gases, and particularly we're going to be talking about FGI minimum requirements. We're going to create a key schedule for that. So the FGI is the Facility Guides Institute, and it's this organization that develops standards for planning, design, and construction of healthcare facilities. And in this particular table that you see here on screen, you have the minimum number of outlets for oxygen, vacuum, medical air, and instrument air in hospitals. So, for example, if you have, this critical care patient room, for example, you would require 3 oxygen outlets per bed and 3 vacuum outlets per bed, and then 1 medical air outlet per bed. And you don't need any waste anesthetic gas disposal or instrument air. Per FGI guidelines, you may have some owner requested requirements. That's another story. Or maybe your medical consultant has some input there. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this information to populate a key schedule. And then based on that key schedule, we'll be able to create a room schedule, room by room, every single room in our facility. And then we'll be able to select from this drop-down list, and all these fields will be automatically populated. And then we'll be able to calculate some totals. Again, this is not to be used for calculations, not to be used for sizing of equipment. This is just minimum FGI requirements. To that, you need to add, or you also need to take into consideration, any actual owner requirements, any medical equipment consultant requirements. They will specify their booms, their head walls, and that's what you need to base your calculations on. And then some local requirements or any other requirements. Hi everyone, this is Alex with BIMitUp, where we help you with professional training and coaching in mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection systems, and Autodesk platforms like Revit and AutoCAD MEP. Let's get started.
So I'm going to go ahead and create a new plumbing project. So I come here to new. I'm going to select my template file. So I'll come here to plumbing template. Hit OK. Now I'll go ahead and link in my architectural model. So come here to insert, link Revit, look for the model. Origin to origin is fine. So I'm going to move my elevations out of the way and make sure that my link model is pinned in place. And I also want to make sure that my model can read spaces and rooms. So let's click here on room bounding. Let's go ahead and make sure we have our levels. So right now I have 2 levels. I'm going to make sure I monitor those 2 levels. Align level 2 to architect's level 2. So that's it. And I'm going to monitor these 2 levels and then copy the 3rd one. I'm going to forget about the rest right now. I don't care about those. So let's go to collaborate. Let's go to copy monitor. Select our link. This is our link. We need to make sure that we just want to monitor for now. Actually, let's do copy and select this guy. Okay. I'm going to take my new level, align it with the other 2, and I'm going to make sure I monitor the ones that are not, because this one already came monitored when I copy it, but these 2 are not monitored. So I have to go monitor. I want to monitor the 1st level to the architect's 1st level. There you go, monitor. 2nd level to the architect's 2nd level. There we go, monitor. And now I can click finish, and I'm done with my levels. And finally, I'm going to come here to Revit links, and I'm going to set this to underlay. Now, so what I'm going to attempt to do in this video is to create a key schedule so that I can take advantage of the information from the FGI guidelines for hospitals, because I think I'm going to be using this quite a bit. So let's give it a shot. So now let's create our spaces. For that, we want to come here to the Analyze tab, and here you click on Space. I want to tag on placement so that I can get the tag, and I actually want to place spaces automatically. So 35 spaces were created automatically. Perfect. Now let's check them out. I don't like the space names, right? I would like that to match the architect. So for that, we come here to space naming, and then we make sure that names and numbers is checked, so that if you have a room that is called Office A01 in the architect's model, you get a space that's called Office 801 in the plumbing model. So let's hit OK. Perfect. So now we have that for level 1. But then on level 1, we don't have any medical, right? It's all lab. So let's go to level 2. And let's do the same thing. Space, tag on placement, place spaces automatically. 39 spaces. We have to do the same thing, right? Space naming, and then names and numbers. Okay, perfect. It updated here. Obviously, we want to get rid of the spaces that are, like a chase. That's not a real space. So for that, let's go to our space schedule. Actually, we don't have a space schedule yet, so let's create one. New schedule. I select spaces. Space schedule as the name is fine. I want to schedule building components, and those building components are going to be the spaces, and it's going to be for new construction. So let's click OK. And now let's add the fields that we want in that schedule. So I definitely want the space name. So let's add that. The space number, I definitely want that as well. I don't care about the area right now. Probably would like to include the level. So let's include that. Now, number of people is pretty tempting. But when I look at the table from the FGI, you see that the number of outlets, for example, for oxygen, you'll need 1 oxygen outlet per bed, right? So these are per bed, per bed, per bed, 2 per bed, whatever, 1 per bed. So this is fine. But then you see that at some point, it's 2 per station. It has different things, like 1 per room, 2 per room. So I think we're going to have to get creative here, and it cannot be number of people. So let's for now just add the name, the number, and the level. Space type is a very powerful parameter. That's the one based on ASHRAE, and it has some interesting HVAC information, but I'm not going to use it right now. I don't want to confuse my space type with the space type out of the box from Revit, so I'm not going to include that. So for now, let's just leave it like that. Name, number, and level. Let's click OK. Let's go to our second floor. Alright, so now we're ready to do our little experiment. Let's take a look at our schedule now. And right now we only have the name, the number, and the level. So let's give it a shot. Let's try to create a key schedule here. So we come here to schedule, new schedule and quantities. This is going to be for spaces, but in this case it's not going to be building component. It's going to be a schedule key, right? And the name, let's keep it as space style schedule. We can change that later. It doesn't really matter. And for key name, I'm going to give it a very characteristic name. So I'm going to call it MedGas space type. Okay. Let's click OK. So we have our key name that has to be included. And now we need to define some parameters, because the ones that we saw here are not really useful for what we want. So it seems like I could use some kind of generic parameter called outlet per host, where that host can be either a bed or a care bed or it could be a station, or it could be a room. So let's give it a shot with that and let's see what happens. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to define a new parameter, right? And that's going to be oxygen outlet, vacuum outlet, med air outlet, and so on. So let's call this one. Oh, you know what? To keep consistency and so that they all are organized, let's call them MedGas outlet per host, and this one's oxygen. All right, so I'm going to copy this so at least we stay consistent. The discipline is going to be common. Typically, I would use a text parameter to keep it simple, but in this case, I want to go for a number, and let's see how we can play with that. Let's keep it flexible, just as a number. And then I'm going to group parameters under plumbing so I can find them easier. So let's hit OK. That's my first parameter. Let's create another parameter here, and this one's going to be called, what's the next one? Vacuum. Right, so I'm going to call it V for vacuum, not to be confused with venting. Let's call it VC. Just, yeah, that way I have, two letters. Let's see. It depends on what you're using on your system, on your piping system to be consistent, but it doesn't matter. Let's keep it like this for now. Let's see if it works first. So discipline is going to be common. It's going to be a number. And I want to group the parameters under plumbing. So that's vacuum right there. Let's add now medical air. It's going to be the same thing, but it's MA for medical air. Discipline's common, number, and I'm grouping under plumbing. Okay, and now waste and static gas disposal. So this is WAGD. Discipline's common, number, and then plumbing. And then finally I have instrument air. So same thing, instrument air, discipline's common, type parameters number. I'm going to group it under plumbing. Okay, and now okay. So here it is, right? Let's see if we can fill up a couple of these rooms, right? And let's see what we have on our floor plan first. So we have trauma or resuscitation right here. This will be our first line right here. So let's go ahead and add that one. Let's close our actual space schedule. And then here we're going to add our first row, and it's going to be trauma resuscitation room would need 2 per gurney for oxygen, 3 for vacuum, and 1 for, let's expand this so we can read it. So this was oxygen, vacuum, medical air, WAGD, and instrument air. So this was 0 and 0. We have a patient room here. So let's go ahead and add that one. That would be this one. So that's 1, 1, and 0 all over the place. So new data row. And this is patient room, medical or surgical. And then for that, we have an oxygen 1 per bed. 1 per bed. 1 of vacuum per bed. And then 0, 0, and 0. And there's a little note here, so we have to be careful. Scrolling down, I see number 3 is medical air outlets may be required in patient rooms. We would have to plan with our healthcare consultant and our architect to see, and the owner to see if they want medical air outlets in patient rooms. So you know what? For now, let's add one just to have it. So here you go, one, and then zero and zero. Let's see what else.
And if you're serious about your professional training, go ahead and visit us at BIMitUp.com. And over there, you can contact me directly for some top of the line training.
Yeah, and what I've been reading is, for clean rooms, you have notes 9, 10, and 11. So 9 is use of portable equipment in lieu of pipe gas system shall be permitted. So 9 is not too relevant, but then 10 and 11, as it says here in the decontamination room of the two-room sterile processing facility, an instrument air station is required. So this is a little bit fuzzy, it's a little bit gray, so you would have to check with each hospital. Um, but I think in my case, I'm going to add here a clean room data row, and I'm going to give it 0 all across the board, but for instrument air, I'm going to give it a 1. And then here my space schedule for my clean room, I'm going to put here clean room, and then the number of hosts, I'm going to make it 1, so that I end up with 1 MedGas outlet. And then if you were to have 0 hosting, you would put a 0, and then you don't have any instrument air. So that's pretty solid. For corridors, we know that this is no MedGas, no MedGas, no MedGas, no MedGas. Electrical has no MedGas. EVS is a janitor's closet, so it has no MedGas. And examination room, let me see, how can I force these values to be 0? Yeah, I guess the best way is to change the number of hosts in those no MedGas room to 0. Okay, so that would be 0 here, 0 here, 0 here, 0 here, 0 here, 0 here, 0 here. And now we are in examination room. Hold on. We're down to exam. So here you have 1 per room. In examination rooms, you have 1 per room. So this would be 1, and this would be 1. We said that this was going to be an examination room. This is going to be 1, 1, 1, and 1. Because each one of these rooms is 1 room. So we're fine. ICU, this is critical. So critical patient room. This is also critical patient room. And then we would have to see how that ICU looks like, right? So let me see. They're pretty small, so it's most likely just 1 bed, right? And then what we have is per bed, right? So we have just 1 bed. We come here to our space schedule. And then in those ICUs, we just have 1 host, which is going to be the bed. And then lactation doesn't require anything. So this is going to be no MedGas. The male toilet is no MedGas. Nourishment, I'm going to keep it as no MedGas for now. You know what? I'm going to leave it blank until I find out what it is. Toilets, we know for sure that these are no MedGas, no MedGas, no MedGas. And then the treatment rooms, we're going to need 1 oxygen per room. So it's 1 room, and this is also 1 room. All right. So let's see if we can filter this. Let's actually duplicate this space schedule and call this MedGas. And then this one, we're going to filter so that the MedGas space type does not equal no MedGas. So all these guys, I'm going to change to no MedGas. Let's see if I can select that from here. So I know all these guys here are non-medical. So I'm going to filter this, check none, and then just the spaces. I'm going to make them here under identity data, wherever that is. Here, I'm going to make this no MedGas. And then they should have this. This is beautiful. Or okay, yeah, nourishment. Yeah, because I'm not sure about this too. But you know what? Let's change this to no MedGas. No MedGas. No MedGas. No MedGas. No MedGas. Soil. We shouldn't need anything on the soil, but I guess I'll find out. No MedGas. No MedGas. And the stair has no MedGas. And now the patient room, it depends on the number of beds, right? So let's go to the patient room and let's assume this is a bed here. Yeah, that's fine. Something like this, it's just to have something. So we know that we have 3 beds here. So this one, the patient room, right? Since it's depending on the number of beds, And that's sweet. We have our medical gas outlet matrix done. So let's see if we can get some totals. This would be nice. Let's see. So let's just do totals only. And then in formatting, yeah. So what do I want? I want a total oxygen. I want calculate totals. A total vacuum. I want calculate totals. Medical air. Calculate totals. I think I can do shift select. Yeah. Calculate totals. Excellent. So let's see what happens. Click OK. There you go. So here under sorting and grouping, I want to have title and totals. Let's see. Grand total. Nice. Let's see if we can see what else. Beautiful. So we know that we need, for this piece of the hospital, we need 39 oxygens. We need 47 vacuum. This is sweet. 15 medical air. That's beautiful. All right, you know what? Let's drop that into a sheet. That's nice. Very nice. So come here, new sheet. It's let's drop our level 2 plumbing here. It's a little tight, but it'll have to do. So let's get it all the way up there. Take this guy, place it here. Shrink this out a little bit, and now let's drop our beautiful schedule there. So it would be space schedule MedGas. This would be the name of the room, the number of the room, the level, the MedGas space type, the outlet per host of oxygen. We can change this, right? Actually, we don't even have to display this. Well, you know what? Let's keep it. Because what we really need is the total number of oxygen outlets. Anyway, you have the option to format this however you want, but I think we accomplished what we wanted.
And if you're enjoying this content, there are many ways you can support it. You can like or leave a nice comment down there. It really helps me out. You can subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. You can join our Patreon community in the link you see on the screen, which is also in the description. You can spread the word around, share it with your coworkers and in social media. And if you know any MEP firms that need help with BIM migration or any other topics, you can let them know so that I can help them.